Yo, what's good, people? This is episode 204. This is the Option Podcast. That guy over there looks like Jaren. That girl over there looks like Miranda. Stay with us, all right? The episode starts right now. It's good, Jer.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I love it. That's a great sound, man. Well, and
Right.
Miranda, yours came in right before the
Yeah.
broadcast. Yours came in like,
Crispy.
yes.
Real
That
crispy.
was-
Looking like Angie, sound like Angie Martinez
Whoa,
from
moment.
like Hot 97 or something. Hey, what's up, people? This is episode 204. I got Jaren Barredo in the house. For people watching it live, it's gonna chop a little bit. We're just trying to mess with the bit rate, 59 frames per second, 29 frames per second, and we'll just come back on it. And anyone that listens to this, when I offer a volleyball coach and a moron from Brooklyn some constructive advice, I'd be more than glad to listen to you. Hit me up, Jaren. What's up, man?
Sir, it's been a while since I've
Yeah.
been back. Like,
Dude, last time you were on this, it wasn't the option. It was I was doing the beat for one on one, and it was Jeff Alzina,
Jeff Alzina,
right? And
me and
you
him
when he was shaving. That was Jeff Alzina when he was shaving.
before Gandalf.
Yo, he came on my podcast, looked like Mandy Patinkin from
Yeah,
Homeland.
before he was a Spartan. Yeah,
That's what he looked like. You ever seen Homeland?
oh yeah.
You know, what's her name? Carrie Brad, whatever her name is. She's
Now
on.
it looks like Spartacus. Like,
Yes.
oh,
Yeah, he did, dude. He looked like a king.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeff Alzina, man, big shout out. One of the best three coaches on this side of the country, maybe even the United States. I really like that guy a lot. I like his coaching style. Why do you think he's so good? Since I'm lucky enough to have a coach on your magnitude on the show. Let's talk about somebody else for a minute. What makes Jeff so good? I've worked with him. You've worked with him.
He coached a different generation where people played differently, because those generations played half or not. Most of their childhood was in big court,
Right.
and the mentality was different.
Mm-hmm.
And then they adopted that to the short court. So now that we have all that attitude from the big court to the short court applied. So it's more side out, oriented.
Right.
And defense system oriented. Very systematic. Like few dirty plays. Like today it's I call it dirty plays when we do like
Right.
two balls and options and all that. Back then they would rather dig, set, call. And if the call is not good, vision. Like that was the whole
Yeah.
like forte back then.
Yeah, I also think from the neck up, like you said, he's a generational coach, right? Like, and the last 10 years, everyone's been really big on positive reinforcement. Everyone's been big on growth mindset and all that stuff, and always like glass half full or whatever. And I think Jeff offers just enough of that real talk where it doesn't mess with your head.
And again, it was that generation where if you showed up to the pier on the pickup court, you're gonna get heckled from the second you get there, and if you can't handle it, don't go back. But the people that stay and play and start winning, like that's what happened to me. I got
any sound on him.
I got nothing on me. Oh, you need to pick me up.
Yeah,
Monitor
he's
wise.
mic 4.
Check.
Mic 4, yeah.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah.
So
if he goes yellow, let him go yellow.
Okay.
That's cool.
So when I was when I was in
Okay.
there around 2003 coming in, when Jeff was already coaching,
Mm-hmm.
the generational, like the heckling was real back then. Like it was a character builder pretty much, and the coaches weren't apologetic. Like
Right.
when I was working with Ak Skatakatabi, if you don't know who he is,
Yeah, we know.
you better dig up.
Jump serve that shakes the ground.
When Ak was coaching Larry and George Romaine, I was helping them train. It was a bad set from an off system, and then Larry said, "My bad," and I cut it off right away. No, we don't apologize. We're professionals, and that was the language. Like there was no, either you say better set by me, and then the hitter would acknowledge, "No, I got to put it away." That was it. That was the lingo. There was no, "Oh, I'm sorry, you should set it over here." None of that. Like
Yeah.
no apologies. That's why when we trained in the summer, I changed the language of the girls right away. I'm sorry. Oh no, like when they set a bad set and they're like, oh no, like nope, I don't want to hear oh no.
And I don't want to hear, oh my God.
Like oh no.
You think I'm in church? I hear more oh my gods than on a Sunday morning at a Baptist church, man.
Pet peeve. Set. You're tight. How is that gonna help the hitter?
Right.
Give her a location to poke to shoot to.
Yep.
So that was that's what I picked up from that generation, and they were so like, it was so embedded in the culture. It wasn't even, they didn't learn it from the coach. They learned it from playing other people, because that's how the other people talk.
Yeah.
Like when I was training with Chad Mowry, that's how they talk.
Yep.
Like
I would also suggest that like you were talking about Akatabi, you're talking about this Romain and these guys that and there's a certain way you coach men and there's a certain way you coach women, but I think we stumbled onto a unisex thing, right? Because we also mentioned Endless Summer where we did just enough men coaching, but at the same time there were still girls, right? So before and hold on to that thought. So generally the men, you know, they're inspired by leadership. You could kick them in the behind. They look for someone to follow them, move along. Women, it's about the sisterhood. It's about the chain. And you never want to vilify someone to at a level where the rest of the team alienates them, right? Where it becomes cliques, because that leads to this implosion. And we're looking the wrong way before we get fired, right?
Yeah.
So
I think a lot of that constitutes to the level of game. The women's game changed.
yeah.
Misty and Carrie never handset. There was only two teams that handset at that time: a Brazilian team
Larissa,
and a
yeah.
German team.
Yeah.
That was it. Nobody else handset.
And Ludwig, yeah.
And then sometimes Nicole Branagh. And then everybody starts handsetting. So then it was closer to a men's game. So then we have to train them a little bit closer to how men's train, because now they can run whatever they want. So that's why it's changed a little bit, because the attitude changed a little bit too. Like with bringing the men's game to the women's game. Now they're shooting pins, they're shooting back sets, like all these tricky plays now is happening. Now it's even more like different. Now they're jump setting. And I mean, then we really have to change the training, like closer to the men's game now.
They really are, with a lower net.
Yeah.
They're tall dudes with long hair playing on a tennis net.
Yeah, pretty much. So the game has changed so much. So the training has to change. And all I did was integrate the men's training to the women's side.
Yeah.
Because it was different back then.
And that's where I put you and Jeff in the same sentence. You know, the reason why I even started this podcast is because
I miss you, Jeff.
Yeah, I think stylistic wise, yeah, man, right there. Say that again. We got that camera on you. There he is.
I miss you, Jeff.
There it is. But yeah, and it's cool. I think he met you for the first time that day.
Yeah, that was. I think I've met him before. I played him before.
Okay.
When he was younger.
Right.
Long time ago. He was
You
so
played
young.
with every dude. You played with every.
He was a baby back then. I think he's playing with Eddie Stokes, and I was just highlighting him the whole time.
Hey, Josh Jamrog messaged me and said that he played with you too.
Yeah, Josh.
You played with everybody.
we were peer rats. Like she knows. She was a high school then. She was there watching us play.
Yep.
And I would play with them sometimes, like all the co-eds. We never that was the thing too. The culture was different.
Right.
Everybody played with everybody, and the locals were just as good as the qualifiers and the pros. All the old guys, because there was a lot of them. There was a lot of big court guys that were still playing, just going to the pier every day. And that was the difference then and the difference now. You would see national teams walk in with their luggages back then and play before they check into the hotel.
You have to with the sand.
It's almost sunset, and they're like, oh no, let's go to the pier first. So all their luggages are by the wall, and we're all playing before they check in, and then they go back again the next day. It was a different time. Yeah. But that was the culture that I miss, and the new stuff now, like what we're talking about, like all the integration now. It's almost training men and training women are almost similar, because they're all playing the same game.
Yeah, except for the foundational psychological thing. Like, I mean, well, doubles, you don't really have to worry about a big sisterhood unless it's a college program, right? If it's a club like a beach group. Yeah, I'm really telling you, a coach could be looking the wrong way if they don't see like mini cliques forming.
Especially for girls.
Yeah, for guys don't care about the cliques as much. Guys they just look for a leader to follow, dude.
Well, was it girls bond and then they fight. Guys fight and then they bond. Is that, or is it the opposite?
That was it.
Is it the opposite?
That was it.
And it's always that way. And I because my first indoor team were girls, and I had to look for that. But Today, it's because now everybody's focused on the girl side focused on getting recruited, so it's really competitive.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and then like who's getting the reps and who's getting, because I look at who wants more.
Right.
Like that's why I say one more. Who wants one more? Me too. One more. Then we get 5 more rounds of one mores because everybody wants it.
Do you think it's because women carry themselves in this sport more professionally than guys do? Like, I'll shape the question for you. Let me put it this way. High school, right? There's always going to be a women's team at a high school. There's not going to be that many boys teams. NCAA, right? Notre Dame has a team, women's team, not a men's team, right? Yale has a women's team, not a men's team. Texas, right? Michigan. We can go on, right? Oklahoma State, right? None of these big schools have men's teams. So do you think it's because women, they're doing this because, wait, this is the way I can pay for my college, at least full ride or partial ride? And there's a correlation to that, right? Because they're serious in high school, they're serious in college, and then when they make a decision to play pro or not, either they do or they don't, which is why on the qualifier, you only see a handful of women's teams, right? And you see like 3 times the men's teams. Is it because women kind of they kind of know what they want, or they're just more professional? You get my question? Or
yeah.
Did I go? Okay. I
think
didn't want to overshape it.
If you see it this year, that's gonna change because the level of good players now. I don't even know where these girls come from.
Right.
There's so many good players. Before you could track who they were.
Yes.
Wherever they're from, you would know who they were.
Yep.
If they're a Florida player or.
And on the bracketology, everyone knew. Right?
You would
even
know
in
who
juniors,
they are.
It's like, yep.
Now I can't even tell who's who.
Yeah.
And then they move here.
Yeah.
Like I trained one of the girls the other day. I'm like, okay, who is she? Like I don't know who she is, but she's pretty good.
Yeah.
And she's part of the USA program now. Like
girl.
there's so many girls
Prater,
like that right now.
right? That girl. There's a girl named her last name is Prater.
Prater.
She and her partner were 18 years old, and they're in Hermosa Beach playing the 18s AVP first, and they were in the main draw.
Yeah.
So they were the only team I saw that had to play juniors and adult the same day. Not qualifier, draw.
Because we ran the juniors in Manhattan too.
Right.
And the finals was going to be that after on Saturday.
Right.
Or the tournament. They had to cancel that because they're playing main draw. Because
the girls were in the draw.
They qualified.
I think the talent with women is like heavyweight. They're like heavyweight champions. They're consistently good, but like there's something I call boom periods, right? Like remember Sarah Hughes and Kelly Clays or Chang? At that time, boom period, right? Because Kelly Kalinsky was there at that time. Betsy Flint was at that time. So that was a boom period of players. And then you got 2019. Where there was a boom period of players. Sarah Sponsel. Tina Gradina came in the USC as the best player as a freshman, so she was part of that, right? Bustamante. There was a boom period of those girls. Chrissy Jones, Zana Muno. Right?
That was that generation. That was the generation of.
But that was the second boom period.
Yeah, that was the second group. So there was that group of Hughes and Clays, the older group.
Right.
And then there's that group of USA girls, the U16.
Just gnarly.
Sponsel, Munoz, Skylar Caputo,
Chrissy Jones, let's not forget her, man.
Chrissy Jones, Joy, Dennis, like
Kraft, Maple. Yeah.
They were in the younger one. They were still 14 at that time.
I agree. Yeah.
So that's another generation of group. 'Cause I've coached a lot of them in the USA. In the USA juniors.
And I felt like there was only a handful of people that saw the warning.
Oh, man.
I was warning all of the female players like that were on the podcast. I'm like, look, there's a generation of girls who are in college right now, junior, senior year, and they're going to play in some AVPs. And I'm like, if you don't see them coming by Hermosa Beach, this is Hermosa Beach 2019, it's going to be bad for y'all. Chrissy Jones and Muno came in as a 43rd seed and made the semifinals, right? Kraft and Maple, you said at that time were like 15 and 17 years old, right? 15 and 17 years old made the quarterfinals. Yeah. The Norris twins, right? They were 17 years old, 18 or whatever. They made the main draw. And we can go on. It was a hostile takeover.
And then the next year, guess who qualified? Miskowski.
Yeah. Natalie, that was our girl. Endless summer shout out, Natalie. We're definitely gonna. I cannot not mention Endless Summer and have you on this podcast. That'd be podcast malpractice. We're gonna talk about them too.
There was a lot of that group of girls.
That was a boom period.
They all played. Everybody that got out from in the summer and everybody I trained separately played as freshmen.
Yeah.
UC Davis.
Yeah. Well, she's at Berkeley
Long Beach,
now.
Tulane.
Remember Finley Rollins?
Yeah, Finley.
She committed to Davis.
Yeah, I remember when she was.
But I think when Allie left, maybe she was just looking for a new home.
left,
You know.
yeah.
And Berkeley's ideal. Ella
Oh, yeah.
Ella Dreepulse is there, right? We
It's
trained
all
her.
good. Like all that.
That same age group.
Oh my God, yeah. That changed the whole bracketing.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Like it. I told him too. Like once these freshmen come in, it's gonna change the ranking of NCAA.
Now, let me ask you an uncomfortable question, because I know a lot of coaches don't want to talk about themselves, except for me. I talk about myself all the time. Just ask me. Don't you see your fingerprints all over from 2019? Let's just say those girls are ages 15 and 16 years old, and a lot of them were 14s. Like Eden McCoy, I think was 14 at that time, right? And Natalie was 15 or whatever. Don't you see your fingerprints, or just say endless summer fingerprints all over this?
I was in
this boom period.
I was in the Big West in Long Beach,
right,
to watch my girls play.
Yeah, who was in the finals?
Hawaii and
Cal Poly, right?
No.
Who?
Long Beach.
Whoa, yes. That's my guy, Mike Campbell. Okay.
So most of my girls are in Long Beach. But I've coached a lot of girls since they're younger, and they're all over the place. They're in Cal Poly.
And we're not even talking about the girls that aren't at Long Beach anymore. Right? I mean, we would sound like you're embellishing your resume.
Before then
it was like 5.
Because when I was in USA, I was there since 2011 to 2019. I've coached a lot of these girls since they were 12, 14, 16, 18 until I left. And they're all in college by that time. So when I was there, everybody was playing against each other. And all the players were like, see that? That's your girl over there. That's your girl over there. Like, Jaren, you got 3 courts covered over here. Like, oh, yeah. And I'm just like dumbfounded. Oh, yeah, I coach all of them.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
Well, for those of you listening where it sounds like we're talking about ourselves a lot, we're going to jump off that shit. But I want to say one thing, and the reason why I even brought it up. We had a group called Endless Summer, which is part of Beach Volleyball National Events. Duran Forbes, who is the director, decided to have her own club team to go along with the showcase, the Get Noticed showcases.
Yeah.
So in 2019, we had a 19-person group, which is really kind of like 24, but 19 full-timers. And the 19 girls, 13 of them committed to Division I. Right. Yep. Now, mind you, this isn't a list of girls that committed to Division II. This isn't a list of girls who were not full time, because 13 out of 19 already sounds like we're again embellishing the resume. But that was a boom period.
Yeah.
That
generation was special.
Yeah.
Like, really special.
Now here's where Jaren and I make it about you guys. All right. For those of you that are coaching, and I'm gonna say something, but I'm also gonna put this in the shape of a question. Duran, and you joined us a year after we started doing this, but you were part of this. Duran, every Thursday or once every 2 Thursdays would make us have dinner, right? And as far as like how to run practices or what comes next, she wouldn't let us leave until we all agreed. Now, I want you to consider some of the stronger personalities you have in your club. This is my camera. Some in your club. Right, you're going to hire coaches that kind of want to do it their way, but the program director wants one way to do it. And volleyball at the end of the day, there's really no one way. There's a one way with like holding your platform and all that stuff. I get that, but to have a room full of and most of us were men. There was only one girl, right? Yeah. You got Pompeo, right? You got Jeff Samuels. You have Oz. Oz was he had a certain way to do things. Dentler, you had me, you had, it's on the wall. I'm going to actually show the picture.
Yeah, there's a lot of us. You have Rob.
Rob McLean, the staple. The staple of Endless Summer. The foundation of Endless Summer. The youngest guy. He was the youngest coach. And Nate. Yeah, but Rob was that's pretty cool because Miranda knows, Rob sounds a little familiar to her, right?
Yeah, he lives in there.
Right? No, but Rob was the youngest coach in that club, in the club at the time. And just this beautiful mind. So I wanted to shape for the audience that there's something to be said about male personalities. And Lacey Fuller, the female coach in the club, having to have enough thick skin and enough humility and not punch each other in the face over new ideas and why we felt ideas wouldn't work this and that. I mean, you can tell there was tension. You know, we're trying to eat, and then finally, after a while, we just started eating, and it's like, all right, I'll tell you what, I got this group.
I don't think I've ever been in that dinner.
No, you came.
Because
You were part of the dinners, but you weren't part of the arguments because we stopped fighting.
originally, Jeff called me up like, "Hey, Durant says you can help me. I'm gonna travel and play." Blah blah blah. I'm like, "Well, let me see my schedule." And then I started helping out, and then their moms found out that I was doing it this summer. This is where they contact me every practice. Are you going? Are you going? Okay, I'm gonna tell the girls.
It was important.
So the girls were like, "Oh, Jaren's coming."
It was important.
Everybody, let's go.
It was important because you were at the time. You and Pompeo were the only two real beach coaches.
And at that time,
2019, I was a real coach, but I wasn't a real beach coach.
I helped out Hughes and Clay's with Jose at that time.
I remember that, yeah.
And then
semifinals.
When they separated, I was with Clay's and Sponsel.
Right. That was the semifinals of Manhattan Beach.
So I was really on that. Because I just ended my indoor career pretty much and just focused on beach. So that, and then I catapulted right away to that team. So it was a good, experience. And then all of a sudden, like, the parents noticed, like, oh, we have Jaren, like, yeah. And I was getting all the texts every time practice was there. Okay, make sure Natalie knows, make sure Aiden knows. Who else is coming?
Yep.
And Tat knows. Like, everybody started showing up.
Yeah,
and it was extra special because all the girls made it to the.
It meant a lot to them. Dude, it meant a lot to them. There's something to be said about coaches who are real coaches. Right?
And I would bring a ladder.
Yeah.
I was the only one bringing a ladder.
I know. You had the big one too.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring a ladder because I
have long arms, so I had the regular ladder, and it was a woman's height net. If I had to coach men with that same ladder, it really required some reaching over your head. But yeah, I'd bring that, and it's really good for serving, like middle of the court, like just middle of the court.
Because a lot of them. This is for coaches. Like when you have young high schools, and they're planning to play college. You desensitize them as early as possible. So I downballed right away. My first drill was downball right away, dig, so they can see it, they can get used to it. So when they played CVBA, they were so used to it.
Yeah, it was something they've seen before.
They're playing adults, and then they were just digging the adults, no problem. Well, that's why a lot of our girls did well.
Well, familiar territory, like. I always tell my kids, because I coach juniors as well, in indoor, and I said, when you get up to brush your teeth, do you think about brushing your teeth, or do you just brush? You just brush. Why? Because you know what it feels like, because you do it every morning, and that's what good coaching is. The how, doing it, you know what I'm saying? Doing it, getting better at doing it the right way. But that form of repetition where you don't have to think about it, you just look, react, go. It really helps you mentally. And then eventually, because the mental affects the physical. Because if you're mentally struggling out there, you could be in the best shape of your life. You're gonna feel physically exhausted. Everybody's like, "Well, you're not in shape." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm in shape. I'm just
and that's exhausted." Another part. Mental fortitude is another part. Right. Like I look at beach volleyball closer to martial arts than any sport because there's so much self-regulation. Like you gotta regulate yourself before the game, even when you're asking for a partner. How do I talk to this person? Blah, 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 blah. What if I say it wrong? Like, you're already, like, in that mental, like, you're already doing that. And then when you get the partner, practice. Oh, my God, what do we, practice. Oh, whose coach are we going to, and then tournament. And then there's so much self-regulation involved. And I'm not saying that other sports don't do that, but we don't have subs.
No.
There's no substitute.
No, you ain't get
You have to self-regulate the moment you get it. And then that's why that's part of my coaching too. Like when I had Gaffney in her first AVP ever in Huntington, qualified top 10. Like
Jess, you mean?
Yeah, Jessica. Yeah, top 10, first AVP ever. With Molly Turner, and we were stadium court.
That must have been fun.
Played Alex and April.
Right.
First game. Of course, we're like.
Yeah. And you said this is Huntington.
This is Huntington.
Right.
So all I ever was saying was just breathe deep, because she was trembling, like it's stadium, first time ever, stadium, like, and so I was still regulate, breathe deep, get back to resting pulse, and let's play again.
Yeah.
And they didn't play that bad. Alex just played well.
Yeah. Sometimes Alex is Right, you try to block her cross, she hits cross
in
anyway.
April,
That little,
duh,
that little
it's
well,
April.
April's on the GOAT list too.
And then she would just jump serve and just like
Yeah.
it was nuts. But that was a good experience. And then
Yeah.
who else was like that? Alexa Strange. When I had Alexa,
Yeah.
she was off for 2 years. Fallon was off for 4 years playing from indoor. Alexa off from college 2 years. Came to me. Oh, I was helping the British team at that time. And I'm like, Jaren, can you coach us? Because they didn't have a coach. I trained him for 2
Was that the Huntington FIVB one?
That's the one. AVP.
Yeah.
And I was working at the same time for the tournament.
I remember that.
So
They beat Finland
They beat Finland.
16-14.
And then they went to 3 with the Swiss team. So
Right.
it was 16-14. But then there was like I don't know, like, they should have not played anymore. That was 2 games. And then they played a first round loser who only played once. We already played twice.
Oh,
So that, I had to lecture the tournament director, like, you shouldn't do it this way. You should do it. I wrote him, like, I pretty much wrote a whole tournament bracketing.
Right.
Like,
This is the best. This is not.
They should have done it this way so you can pay people properly and you can give points. I'm a tournament director too. So, and that made sense. So they used some of that in the Manhattan one afterwards, but it was too late. I mean, we did good. Like, that catapulted Alexa and Fallon under comeback.
She was so good for the sport too. She's just animated.
She represents.
Big smile on her face. Always having a good time. Like, if someone who doesn't watch the sport is walking by, and they're playing some Michael Jackson song, and there she is just dancing, and what I'm saying, dancing on the switch. She's entertaining. She's good for the sport, and she could play. And she's also left-handed, which means she's a genius.
She's been playing since I've known her since she was 12. So
And, Alexa Strange, where are you?
And
Where are they now?
She's raising a baby.
What?
She's a mama now. She has a baby. Nice. And she's doing good. She's pretty happy over there. And we talk every once in a while, like when she shows off the baby, like, it's so cute.
That's so cool.
But that was good. We had a really good experience. Like, for me, volleyball. I wasn't even trying to be as an athlete when I was playing. I wasn't trying to be anything.
All right.
When I got sober, my sober friends were playing backyard volleyball at 21st Street, where Side Out was born, and then all of a sudden CB's court pop up, and let's play big court with CB.
That, yeah.
And I met CB and I met everybody else, and then my friends were like, "You're too good for us. You should play with Josh Cannon." And if you remember Josh Cannon,
I remember
he
Josh.
qualified in Manhattan, his first time. When was that? 2004? Can't remember. But yeah, and Josh just took me around. My first games in the pier was Side Out court, king of the court. I don't know who was there. I'm like, oh, just get in, just serve and then play. I serve, I dug a ball, I got set, I hit the ball. I'm like, I'm gonna go to the other side. They're like, oh, if you win, you stay there. They served me like 11 times.
Wow.
So I pass and bounce, pass and bounce, pass and bounce.
Keep
like,
going.
everyone's like, who's this guy? Like, they were so confused. Oh, that's my buddy. He's Filipino. And then the 12 one, they served my partner. They chowdered the set. I didn't know how to set that. Spun a little bit. You're out. Like, what? Yeah, come here. And then Chadwick, like, put me to the side. Yeah, you can't really spin your set. Like, oh, it's got to be Karch. It's got to be clean. And that used to be the thing. It's got to be clean like Karch. Like, oh, God, I didn't know what that was. So I trained for 2 months just to, like, get my handsets good. And then I got introduced to Chad Mowry. And then after that, it was just, like, then the Philippine team. And then we built it here. And then training with other countries. And Chad training other countries. And I'm training other countries. Like, it was just snowballed from there. But I still had other jobs, at this point. And then
I think you have other jobs because people recognize coaches that can coach different personalities, right? Like, for example, you just said, like Jess Gaffney and Molly Turner, right? Butterflies galore. Center court, you're playing the best team in the world. Alex Kleinman, who's won a gold, and April Ross, who I think is right now in my top 3 GOAT list.
Oh yeah,
she's done the she's done the gauntlet of 3 medals, right?
Easily.
And God knows if she had carried the same time Misty would have, she probably would have won. Yeah. Right, she deserves it. She's on everybody's GOAT list, and she treats everybody. She didn't know me from a can of paint and treated me the same as everybody else. So I'm always going to respect that. But so you're going from these 2 girls, right? they might have to play over their head to win. Nervous energy, right? And then you're coaching girls like Fallon who already have a strong personality, who you don't really need to work that nervous energy away. She's ready all the time. In fact, Fallon is a special kind of animal. Yeah. Fallon's one of the only female players I've seen that could start high and stay high. Like us coaches, we have this thing like
mental fortitude.
Yeah, but us coaches have this thing like for every 5 points you get like riding that wave, you're gonna give up 9 on a low because the bigger your wave is, the bigger it crashes. She's the only female player, and I've seen a few male players like that, but they're unicorns, yeah. Dude. They're unicorns.
She has all the mental fortitude you need for herself and for her team. But when she can't handle it, she looks at me like, can you do this one?
Yeah.
Like she can't talk to her teammate, and I do it.
But we just talked about 2 completely different volleyball personalities that require a coach that understands that.
And Alexa too.
Oh, yeah, 3. I mean, yeah.
So those are all.
Well, I love all 5 of Alexa's
all different
personalities.
There's all different dynamics of people.
Right.
But like all I focused was, because I teach the system. I don't just teach. Here's a serve receive drill. Yay. No, there's a system that's involved, and if you get the whole system, we were very successful with it. Like when Fallon and Alexa played together, they were winning opens up and down. And when Jess and Molly was together, we were winning up and down the coast, whatever open it was. Like I went Carlsbad with them, I went Santa Monica. The system works, and that kind of keeps the personalities to the side.
It really does.
And the wisdom of they cited out. That's a good shot. We know it was a good shot because in our system, we recognize that as a good shot. And hats off to that team. And when other people train, they don't know the good shot from a shot that can be dug. So then there's that tension that happens.
Yeah.
So that's why I like to watch coaches run systems oh, that's a good shot. That's a gettable shot. Like I listen to, I don't say much, but I listen to the coaching staff and I kind of I like that coach. Oh, I like that coach.
Yeah.
John Mayer, I like that coach.
That's my guy.
I like how he talks.
Yeah.
But and then personality, I kind of try not to bring it in the box, because now everybody has a job. You're a setter. There's a system. We're running the system. You know where to go when she pulls. She knows where you're going when she pulls. If you stick your hand out, if she says it's hers, you got to stick your hand back in. So all that stuff is already in the practice. So it's all mechanical. So there's no argument even involved.
No. Well,
everybody knows what's the roles, pretty much.
I don't think I was talking about what you do with the personalities as much as I was talking about just recognizing it right away.
Oh, yeah.
Knowing that it's a real thing, accepting that that's a real thing,
yeah.
Allows you to say, okay, how am I going to do this to make this feel like a normal day?
Yeah.
And this is what I was talking about with the gift, the gift of actual coaching.
Yeah.
Again, me, I've always had that. I just didn't have it. I just had to learn from guys on the beach. Dude, I had 3 mentors for the beach. I have John Mayer, spent 2 years with him at LMU, and like you said, he has a system. Chi DiMaggio, who you probably never met, Katricia, and for the beach, Oz showed me a certain way that people like to play out here that differ from the way I play indoor. For example, the knee down on the pass, I as a player never did that, and as a coach never felt the need to teach that. And his argument and his rationale is it saves your gas tank. And my argument back at him was, it doesn't stab my gas tank if that's all I know, right? If that's something I've been doing all my life, it's not something I got to try to do. You got to try to do it if I'm teaching you, and it's going to make your legs tired. So we've had different philosophies on the why, but I humbly accepted the new idea to my mind, which is not a new idea to everybody out here. It's basic,
There's the basic stuff. It's not a cookie cutter, but the closer, because all the best players move the same. All of them. There's a few that's not. That's physically gifted.
We talking domestically?
Oh,
I'm just trying to draw a picture.
International. Let's say Carol. She moves weird. but she's so strong.
It's true.
She gets away with whatever technique you're calling out. It doesn't matter. She's so strong.
You talking about the defender or the blocker? Just remind me who she was.
Carol's the block.
Okay, cool.
She's so strong. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, she does not like
and
Kelly
then,
boy.
And then but the old school times, like Holly McPeak wasn't super tight technically, but she was such a stud. She was stamina for days. And her and EY was just taking over games. They were playing options. That was the model of the co-ed games back in the days, because the men just jump serve the women. They didn't care. Like, don't serve the women that hard. No, they didn't care co-ed. Back then. Back then they were jump serving the women. Yeah. And that was that like.
How are you supposed to say co-eds won by the women if they don't get served? Right? I mean,
you don't see co-eds anymore. No. The last co-ed tournament that I can remember was the Corona Open. Yeah. We had co-ed opens and co-ed A in Huntington. That was the last one. And they served the crap out of them.
Yeah. Like, St. John did one in Santa Monica.
I remember that too.
And that was I played with my wife in that. That's the only reason why I know. And we made semifinals, folks.
So we don't have that today. That model of somebody just cracking a jump serve on them. But that's what Holly got used to back then.
Right.
So their passes were low, and it's always a set. So that was a different, there's always those people that breaks away from the norm. And then you have Misty, technical IQ.
Right.
And then you can't, there's nothing to call out. She's doing everything right.
Sure.
And then there's Karch.
Yep.
Two-step approach, going this way and going this way.
And then turn back to a goofy foot.
Yeah. People argue like, oh, he's a goofy foot. Yeah, but put him on the other side. He's going to do the same thing the other way.
Hello, yeah.
Because he's learned how to do the
he was an interchangeable.
Close step here, close step here.
Yeah. Because in indoor, he started as a goofy foot, and then they fixed his steps, and he became just whatever it took to jump straight up. Yeah. So that
it didn't matter. If the ball is here, he goes here. If the ball is here, he goes here.
It's crazy because I've seen him do both in an indoor tournament. Like if you look at USA against Brazil, 84 Olympics.
And he rarely crosses
his... he just did it again.
Yeah, he rarely crosses his feet.
Right.
He sidesteps, jumps, sidesteps, jump.
Yep.
And that's part of my warm-up because I want to teach, instead of running around, just learn a footwork. Yep. So you get better.
And then you got the combination of Miss T. May and Holly McPeak. You had Jackie Silva, right? Going back a little bit before. She's the first time they had the Olympics. For beach. She was the first gold medal winner, and I was glad that she was around long enough to win one because she's one of the least recognized, and she's actually my one from my top three goats.
That's why I'd like to.
How did she do that all day, all weekend, and you're tired and she's still the same?
I like to bring up always the old school teams, the old school players like Sinja and Mike and Randy and Hob, because they started for it, and they were relentless. That was big court. And I tell people I live in a volleyball house. Gina Urango, Eric Baranek. We have volleyball people almost every day. They go pick big court or small court, and I'm like old school big court
all day.
Because people like me.
That was a lightning round question.
That was a lightning round.
No, but go ahead.
Because people like 5'10", I would have a chance.
Right.
Like in the big court, but then you have people like. Because I measured it, right? And like, okay, now I have Sean Rosenthal, who's way better than me and way taller than me. Like, and I measured myself to like how far am I going to take? Because I wasn't planning, like, mind you, I wasn't planning on playing this high level. I just ran into it. It just kept going.
It just happened.
And then I just started training with them. And then the day I trained with Furby, and Casey, I'm like, holy crap, what am I doing here? Like, you know what I mean? Like just hands like
too highly compared at the time, just highly.
So then we have to learn to set.
Two intense individuals too, right?
They're so nice though.
Yeah, they're nice now. I mean,
but game wise, Casey was intense. Like, Furby was just like super nice. What's up, bro?
You got like John Mayer, who's the same, like on and off the court, just smiling. And
I remember John because we were in the same 6-man team. Mm-hmm. And then he came in, I think, the second year. He's like, Jaren, where's the sky ball? Jaren, where's the sky ball? Like, here, bro. Yeah. So we made it to the 2 last big finals against Magnum.
I want to save John as a footnote for later in this conversation because I have a comparable from my indoor mentor. His name is Mario Tribich, which I'll tell you about later. But I wanted to ask you something. There are coaches, right, who are former players, and that's how they get into it, right? And then there's people that they play a little bit, and they're like, okay, they can't teach, and I just want to coach this. At what point you get a coaching job, but you're actually still playing at the same time, right? And that's how a lot of volleyball players roll. Like John Mayer got the job at LMU, and he was still a full-time player, right? At what point did you realize that in order for me to be good at this, this coaching thing goes beyond just training players physically?
Yeah, I mean, the same thing with the playing part. Like I wasn't trying to coach, and when I was with Chad Mowry, we started a Philippine team here, and we trained a lot of blockers. That's how I learned how to coach blocks. It was because of Chad.
Yep.
And then
it's my first job. It's my first coaching job. Yeah.
So I was helping him out, and we were training all these tall Filipinos to play with him to block. We didn't have a block for me. We didn't have money for me. We didn't have money for a second team. So I just helped him out just in case I get to play, And then we trained the women's team. And then next thing you know, the Guatemalans showed up, and then we trained the Guatemalans. Majo is now the assistant coach for TCU. Nice. Majo and Lola, who married, what's his face?
Hector's not there anymore?
I think Hector's the
head coach, right?
So we have all these people that we train, and then from there, then I got Tikao used to live here. He used to coach in 2nd Street. He used to call me up, hey, can you play against my girls? I show up, it's Juliana. Like, what? I'm going to play against an Olympian. So he lets me play against the girls and drill the girls, and then help with Jocko, with, what's his name? We'll call him Jocko. Jose's old partner.
Oh,
how do I not know your name?
Johnson? Adam? No.
Brazilian coach.
Oh, Angino,
yeah. So, because we call him Jocko. So, I helped him too when I was helping Larry Witt. And then Jose came back. I was training them Larry with him, because he came back from his surgery. And we took 9th in Riverside in the parking lot tournament. It was so freaking hot. And that was it. That was his last tournament. Larry retired. Jose retired. And then I just went back to playing and working with I ran Gabs, Great American Volleyball, West Coast, when it was here with Jack Quinn. And then Corona Open was still around. We ran a lot of those. Those were fun. I like those tournaments. I wish we had tournaments like that. They weren't trying to compete with AVP. They were just their own thing. They had 4-man tournaments.
Like Dinosaur, right? Like Dinosaur, like Fuds, like...
But they were so fun, because we would have a 4-man A, a 4-man Open, and the prizes were 42-inch televisions, and then we have a co-ed Open and a co-ed A, same thing, television plus money, and then we have an Open, and then we have the actual tournaments, and we had good sponsors. It was really good. It was a good tournament, but in the end we couldn't sustain, so they had to I think Spalding left, so that was the end of that tour. And then I started helping AVP Next and AVP. I started working for AVP with the old crew. This was still Crocs days and Nautica days. Okay. Yellow and...
Right, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I'm just a fly in the wall. I've been in so many, big stuff.
This is what makes this podcast so interesting. You're like this person... if there's a Forrest Gump of volleyball, where, remember the movie Forrest Gump? He was right place, right time, and 40 years of American history. This is, I'm not saying, you're a little bit, look, you have Forrest Gump's same virtue. You're just smarter. So I was doing.
And then the last time we talked, I went to Israel last April.
Yeah.
Last year.
Okay.
Is that last year? Yeah.
Nice.
I was like, oh, can we talk when you get back? Oh shit, we missed that one.
Let's do it.
And now we're here. So that was a good trip too. It was for the ISF, the International, what was it? For the high schools worlds. Right. Yeah. And we did good. The US did good. We placed a lot. And we didn't send, the best, but we sent the people that qualified in the AAU.
So basically, your path from a player to a coach, what you're saying right now, because I don't want to sound like I'm asking the same question, is you're like, I'm doing this coaching thing. Let me just get these ideas spun off from some of the people who I would defer to anyway as a player, right? Is that where we're kind of going with this?
Yeah, I kind of picked up from the Brazilian side,
Mm-hmm.
and then the U.S. coaches and the European coaches. Kind of developed a sense, but then what really stuck out was the old school stuff, and I kind of made my own. I kind of Bruce Lee did, like what Bruce Lee did with
Be water.
like just take the good out of all of it, and then
Yeah.
put it in one teachable system to get to the core right away. So that's why I developed all the systematic drills. Like I can see a problem, boop, I know a drill for that. I see a problem, I know a drill for that, and then it kind of makes me. I can't claim it as my own because it's a blend of everybody else.
Then it's your own.
It's okay. It's my own.
Yeah. There's an old saying: "Good artists create, but great artists steal."
And then and like I mentioned all the names of the coaches I work with because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be this good. And there's a lot of failures involved, and that's part of it, and that's how I grow. And remember my ex-wife, like I was coaching her. Never coach your ex-wife,
Dude, yeah, do not.
But we were successful. Like I coached her for 4 years, and she actually played a get noticed because somebody was trying to get noticed by FIU, so she played in it, and then Rita was like, I want her, like instead of the girl that she's looking at. And then she applied, and then even what's her name, Nina from Pepperdine,
Yeah.
wanted to see her, so we went to see Nina, and Nina was very honest to her too, and I appreciate that very much for Nina. This is before she retired, so we went there. We watched Marcio like drill everybody, and then they were just sitting there, the two of them. Nina was talking to Michelle, and Nina was like asking her questions, and then she ran back to the car crying. She was so awesome. I'm like, whoa, what's going on?
Yeah, you thought something went wrong.
And she was crying, but she was happy. And then Nina asked her, like, what do you want out of this? Oh, I just want to play volleyball, blah, blah, blah. And like, yeah, but you're going to a school. You're from an Ivy League school. Because Michelle was from an Ivy League school. Like, why would you join this? Like, look, you did it for 4 years, and you're better than most of these girls. In 4 years, from like almost beginner to this, you're doing great. And that was the answer. And then she ran back to the car. She says, I'm doing great, just keep going. But then she got sick.
But that's when do you see what I said in the beginning, why women are smarter and how they carry themselves like professionals, right? She went to an Ivy League school, but you use student athlete as a complete whole, right?
Mm-hmm.
The athlete part of the student athlete allows you to just go to some place, have a discipline, respect other people's time, that shapes this environment that allows you to excel academically because you're block scheduling things, you're professional, you're not hippieing it out, you're not putting things off, right? Yeah. Like my wife went to Harvard, right? To play tennis and volleyball, only really just played 1 year, but. There's a reason why the Ivy Leagues do well in the NCAA when the Ivy Leagues don't offer athletic scholarships.
Yeah, it's focused.
The Ivy Leagues don't offer everybody listening. The Ivies don't offer athletic scholarships. There's some academic rides, but I just think it's really cool to see. Yeah. Like in 2000, we were talking about 2019. Harvard made the NCAA's. They beat Penn State, and then Princeton to get in. Right, and even took the first set from UCLA, who were the finalists that year, right? Yeah. And then you had Princeton a couple of years ago. My guy, Sam Schweitzky, who he played at Hunter High School where I was the coach. So there's always this. You want to talk about two Forrest Gumps? There is involvement everywhere. Yeah. Look, me and you could have just worked at Endless Summer and already been the 6 degrees of separation, right? Pompeo's from Rio, right? Yeah. De Janeiro, right? Jeff is Flint.
Yeah.
Samuels is Flint. Oz is Cuba. You're Filipino. I'm a dirty New Yorker. Rob, Long Beach, Long Island to Long Beach, California. Miles Evans, who was there before you came, right? Santa. Yeah. He's a gaucho for a year. Dentler, Pennsylvania. What?
Nate,
Colorado, but I don't know before that.
I don't know before that either.
Yeah.
Where you from, Nate?
Do you remember when Nate made the draw with Dave Smith?
Yeah.
Oh my God, Miranda, I'm so glad you're here for this one because
Young
Rob was in that qualifier, and there were a lot of good, like Endless Summer had a lot of good coaches who were active players. So Manhattan Beach, you're like, oh, odds is up. Oh man, Jeff just lost in, or Rob just lost in the finals against who's the big guy, Bobby Jacobs and Michael Boag. Remember that Manhattan Beach play-in? He stabbed his gas tank, beating Rob Garrett and Lesniak, right? But or Lesnicki or whatever, whatever that guy's name is. So we go back to the house. Duran's having a barbecue. So she's like, "So who made the draw?" And I was like, "I said Nate," and she goes, "Nate Yang." I said yes, and you
Baby
did
Nate.
so with David Smith,
With Uncle Dave. Yep.
They beat Strickland and Watchvogel. And a really just an exciting.
I have so many
We
stories.
could have a great conversation just on great qualifier matches, dude.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
All day.
I had a top 5. You know, I had the fans vote for their top 5.
That's why we need a qualifier.
Yeah.
That's the like blood of the tournament.
Yeah.
Not the exhibition 16. It's the same people over and over. What if a guy outside that group can beat any of that?
Right.
For example, when Hagen and Jake got the wild card from the CVBA and beat the number 1 seed
in Hermosa Beach. They beat Try and Trevor at that was
Newsworthy.
Trevor. Yeah. 16 beats the 1. How many times that happened?
That's what you want.
In 10 years, that's only happened 5 times.
Because when Nick
in like 100 tournaments.
When Nick and Phil in Florida qualified and took 3rd,
right,
that was another one.
Right,
like, oh shit, there's a new monster in the field.
Yeah, and who else? I remember McCulloch and Rafa Rodriguez. They beat Gibb and Patterson in Seattle. I was actually coaching them after that, but I wasn't really coaching them. I was just sitting under the umbrella and learning from them. Talk about personalities where,
and then the women's
where
side,
that thing kind of takes care of itself.
And then the women's side, Maple and Kraft, like
and didn't Betsy and Emily lose as a 1 seed to the 16 in Austin?
And Gaffney and Turner and who else?
Yes,
like there's so many.
Crab and Gibb lost to Ospina and Lotman. These are 16s on the 1s, baby.
So you that's why.
How about Manhattan Beach? I think at 30. Betsy, they lost to a 32.
Yeah.
And came back and won the whole thing. So how about that? So
that's why like you want a tournament, you gotta bring in qualifiers. Like I think that's how it's always been. That's why it was good.
Well, let me draw the picture for the audience. For my audience who just follows indoor, or some of my audience who just follows,
who's over here?
Carnivore doctors and all that stuff. Volleyball. There's a main draw where you see the popular players, the attraction, but there's something called the qualifier to get into the main draw. There are spots available. Now the qualifier represents the best team from like all of the regions in the United States, right? You got the Motherlode winner, right? The Basie brothers. You got Pottstown Rumble winner, right? And Pottstown Rumble, that's like 10 grand for first prize. What's the one in Wisconsin called again? In Oshkosh. Remind me. Wapaka. Right? So you have Manhattan Beach. Let's just say Manhattan Beach qualifier. Let's just isolate it.
Yeah, let's just say
it
Manhattan
represents like the top 32 teams in the qualifier trying to play in, represent the best of what each region has to offer. Indoor NCAA champs. Right?
It used to be 64.
Okay.
Like at some point it was like 100 teams want to qualify.
64 double elimination?
No, for
Single.
Qualifier.
Oh, okay.
Just one and done. But it even came to 100, so they would have to play Wednesday and Thursday.
Yeah.
Like that was when AVP was just like let them play, like let's not cap it.
That's the reason why it's called open, right? Yeah.
So
okay.
At some point it was that big, like, and then the main draw was 64.
Right.
So they were taking half of it with qualifiers.
Yeah.
So 32, or they would take 16 instead of 8.
Right.
So there was big, like, and there was money because there were sponsors.
Yeah, they're really good sponsors.
Remember when Xbox was in there and they would just give you a bag? Like, what is this? Like,
just kind of. Oh,
I remember
you
Josh
got me.
Cannon qualified. I was
Yeah.
working at the Manhattan Pizza place at this point. Walks up to the pizza place. Can I leave this here, Jan? I'm gonna go to Sharky's. Like, what? Bro, go home. You're plastered. You gotta play tomorrow. And then he lost the bag. I'm like,
Yeah.
he was so drunk. But that was like, those are the good days. Like when sponsors were just, I mean, the rent was cheap too at that time.
Yeah.
Like $500, somebody would convert their garage into a livable space for
Hey,
$500.
Miranda, could you look up top 5 qualifier matches, AVP qualifier
Let's see who
matches?
comes out.
I had I had the fans.
Oh,
I went to all of the Facebook groups like San Wannabes Austin, San Wannabes whatever, Central Park Beach, New York, San Diego volleyball players and coaches, and I did I had them vote
Nice.
on what their favorite qualifier match is.
Nice.
And the one that got the most votes was one, but I think you'll be if she can find it, you'll be pleasantly surprised that it.
Where does it
You know
show up?
the top 2 came from California. I mean I can almost say of course. I'm looking right at it.
This one was Rob.
The top 5. That's it. Yep, that's it.
Replay check.
Go against modern play and you can see how skinny they are. You can see
Look
how
at
gangly
Marcus.
they are. I'll tell you why, because they ended up qualifying at
I love
15
those
and
kids.
17 years old. Look at
Oh,
that.
they're not kids anymore.
15 and 17 years old. This is their first main draw. And this is a great match. This is against his coach, Matt Motter and Matt Playcheck.
Yeah.
That was a gnarly qualifier match.
Number 4,
This is New York.
City, 2016.
I remember
Mike
this.
Salick, and that guy is Greg, the Savage Hunter.
Oh.
His shorts are
He's
tight.
just like-
His body's hairy. He's balding at the top of his head, but he don't give a damn. He came to ball, and that
Hey,
drew a
y'all.
bigger
Was
crowd
this the
than
first
qualifier
Yeah.
match.
Lower Manhattan? Or is this the second
That was
one?
Pier 25. This is 2016. And this is a second round quali.
I think I was there.
And they lost to Alejandro Parra and Paula Reza. So if you remember that.
Yeah.
And this is Texas. This is Austin. This is Rafa Caseda and Troy Schlicker.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Look at that. Yeah, it was humid. It was dark. You'll see the crowd, right? Now,
Yeah.
that seems like a big crowd, but that doesn't even show the half of it because the crowd behind the camera is
Yeah, this
ridiculously
way.
gnarly. There had to be like 200 people. There's night lights. And there's really...
Oh, yeah.
Night lights are really fun games, aren't they?
Oh,
They
yeah.
just really are. So that was number 3. Number 2, this was...
Oh, yeah. We talk about this in the house.
This was one of the best highlights. I can show this 100 times. Look at this.
Eric is a... I love Eric.
Yeah, let's just watch this.
He's a wild animal. He's a
It's a great-
feral. He's
Look
a
at that
feral.
great hot read. That's Matt Prosser he's playing with at the time, cancer survivor. And now
Do you know how
one
they-
of the best commentators in the business, right?
Do you know why they're together?
I'll tell me in 1 second. This is crazy. And
Rally,
that's Paul Lotman and Derek Olsen.
This is where he threw,
Yes,
Yeah.
here's the last play. And then
and then he turns around,
Whoosh.
throws it.
some girl was walking by and literally like saw it in the air and caught him. So there was a girl walking by the court and just saw shades flying at her and she caught it. And it was ridiculous. So this is
Pause
number
it.
1. Pause
So-
it? Yeah, let's pause. All right,
So
we're
when
pausing.
when Eric was young, when Eric was starting to play, like who should I play? And then I saw Prosser jogging at the Strand. Like, are you trying to play again, bro?
Yeah.
I just get rid of cancer. I'm gonna try to move around. And I was like, yeah, I want to play again. I was like, Eric, you better get on that.
Right.
Like, start talking to him now. And then, boom, and that happened.
And you know what? This wasn't even the play-in. This was the 3rd round.
Third round.
That's Paul Lotman, who took a 5th. That's Derek Olsen, who needs no introduction, right? He's
Yeah,
at
yeah.
Washington right
Oh,
now
yeah.
coaching.
D.O. It's my generation. Yeah.
And Eric Baranek, and they made they qualified. It was a
Qualified.
great moment for Matt Prosser's family.
Yeah.
Want to talk about a mensch?
Dude.
Want to talk about a good human being? Want to talk about one of the top 3 commentators right now in indoor and volleyball, indoor and beach? Like just steady. He can go play or he can go color. Sorry, you guys finish.
That's my generation of like beach volleyball people, and you can see the pedigree.
Yeah.
You know, like cancer survivor comes back, does that. You know what I mean?
It's
Like
ridiculous.
it's crazy.
It's
Like,
ridiculous. I
like-
like him a lot.
And
My dream is to actually just do a gold series with him.
him and John Mayer,
him and me in the booth. I think that would be gold.
him and John Mayer ran it for a while.
They
Like,
did. I remember they made a finals.
ran it for
Yeah.
a while. Like
Yep.
they won almost all the opens, like
Yep.
whatever it was. And then, well, at that time, you had the big boys were running it. Phil and Todd and Jake
Yeah.
and Sean.
Avatar was figuring things out too. He got good somewhat
So,
at the end.
like at that time, it was pretty rough to get to top 10 because there was a lot of monsters at that time. Furby was still playing.
Right.
Night Guard was still playing.
Yeah.
Like
Who also played with John Mayer.
yeah, big dudes everywhere. Romaine was still playing. Like there
Brad
was Keenan,
Yeah.
Hans Stoffler,
Stafford
Anthony
Slick.
Medell, Olsen. Oh my God,
You're
Matt
right.
Matt Olsen.
Think
Like,
about it. Where did all the big guys go? You're
just
right.
monsters everywhere. Like, and and I tell people like, you have one Troy Field right now. We had so many Troy Fields back then. Oh my God, like
They're all probably goofy foots too.
it's crazy. Like Anthony Medell ruptures Achilles, comes back in 3 months.
No problem.
I'm like, what the heck did you eat, bro? I want some of that. Like, it was crazy. Like, there were so many specimens in that group.
You're right.
And then I'm not even mentioning Chad Mowry, who never lifts ever
No.
when he was playing AVP. Takes third, takes fifths, and
Well-
very technical. And, like, there's a lot like that back then. There was a lot of players like that just shows up and
Right.
just ruins the bracket, pretty
Well,
much.
you know who ran him off, right? The international players.
Yeah.
You know why? Because if you are just getting by on athleticism, you said Murray didn't even lift and took a third, right? You're going to run into someone in Italy that's just as athletic as you. And what else do you fall back on when you
Yeah.
run into someone?
Well, it
like
was a
that?
different era
Yeah.
at that point because they also played big court when they were younger.
Yeah.
So their conditioning was different from the new guys now.
But the big court only benefited the jump serve of the international players who were former indoor players
Well,
who brought
yeah.
the jump serve right away.
The defenders were different from the big court
Right.
because they didn't juke around and
Right.
cheat. They
No.
stayed and ran.
Yeah, they stayed home.
Like they were disciplined. Their speed of covering court. It's like what Jeff and I was talking about
Yeah.
when he was here. Nobody teaches court coverage anymore because they don't know how to teach it. They didn't play like that.
No,
People stack right now.
it's true.
People stack so much. Nobody stayed and wait for the high line to go and then go.
I'm part of a generation of coaching that stays home.
Yeah.
I
exactly.
used to really like Bruno Oscar Schmidt. Like
Yeah.
you watch
Bruno,
and you watch him.
old school discipline. Yeah.
He,
Emmanuel was
like
like
his time of pursuit was like 0.86 seconds. So any ball on the court, but he's covering from staying home.
Yeah. From pocket to line,
Right.
high line.
Yeah.
From pocket to cut.
Yep. And mind you, I used him because he went against competition that, that competition makes you leave home, not stay home. Because you're like, if I stay home, I'm not getting that. And sometimes in system, you got to just say good shot. But how many good shots you're going to get before you lose a damn game?
And then you have
right?
Todd,
Yeah.
who doesn't show what he's doing
No, not at all.
until the touch. Bing,
Right.
bing.
And Todd on defense, I understand. I interviewed
Same
him.
thing.
Todd said he would actually just shave a foot off of each side of the court. He'd stay home.
Stay
and
home.
if you're perfect,
Because he has a
and if
big
you're
block.
perfect, you win. But and if you're anything less than perfect, you'll lose.
Exactly. So
Right.
this is what I'm talking about, the wisdom part.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good shot. Good by you. Anything after that is mine.
Did we just lose it?
Shh.
Let's do the number one. No, we lost the YouTube. Let's get back on the YouTube.
Oh.
Yes,
Oh,
we
yeah,
had
we
one
have
more. That wasn't even number one.
That was the new number one. Number one.
Because you're like, if that match was that good and that was number two, what the
Yeah.
hell's number one? Where they put the court? Yeah, you can just let it run.
Yeah.
Where they put the court, Jaren, next to the pier.
Yeah.
So a little bit too hot. Look at people under the pier. A little
Right
bit
by
too
the
hot. Want some
stairs.
shade. People trying to get some sun.
Oh, yeah.
I was actually in the umbrella on this one for this qualifier match because they the year before they helped me prepare for Manhattan Beach. I played Manhattan Beach with Tyler Lucas, and just a great two guys that can coach themselves. I just learned a lot from them. Wow, that was Kame.
Yeah.
Jeez, Kame and Rita split block, and you know what? Guess what? They didn't make the qualifier either.
Nope.
That was crazy. That was it was I think it was Ben Vaught
Yeah.
and Brandon Clemens. That was a gnarly 18 bracket. I think Samuels and Ulster were in that bracket. I'm like, yo, I'd be going to the AVP guys and be like, what did I ever do to you? what? You do know like 3 of these teams could probably make the quarterfinals.
That's when they shrank it to
Yeah.
32.
Yeah.
And then you have
And then
all
24,
these
yeah.
you have all these 16 teams that's supposed to be a main draw
Right.
playing in qualifiers.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that year, Huntington was 4 spots.
Yeah, 4 spots.
Hermosa Beach was 8.
8.
So it's because it was a 24-team draw.
Yeah.
And that was one of my most proud moments. That I was coaching Earl Schultz and Jake Arrutia, and that was their first main draw. So I was there.
Yeah.
That was one of my because it wasn't like Rafu and Kevin were like, you can put your dog, right? You got this cute little dog. You can put your dog in the umbrella and they're gonna qualify, right? You know, or like Camacho, right? You could just give him a pack of cigarettes that he could smoke during
That's
the
my
technical
boy.
timeout. No, that was some of the best work I've done because we had to beat Evan Corey and Kevin Vallejo to get in. That was, and Chris Lewis is not an easy out either, right? Max Martin is pretty good. Brings that opposite indoor thing to the right side on the beach. So that was the first time I didn't feel like an imposter in a tent, and I'm just like, all right. And, if I'm not one of y'all, that's cool. But I am. Mm-hmm.
Speaking of imposter, did I ever feel like that? I'm like,
no.
I
didn't either.
I did the work. Like,
yeah.
I don't make videos of my stuff because
No.
I don't want to show it. You want to get it? Come and get it.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Come and get it.
Hell yeah.
I'm not gonna make videos of how to be.
Well, I use the word imposter because Travis Mewritter, when he made the first main draw and he was in the tent, he didn't have any, like everyone was talking to each other, everyone was a familiar face, and he didn't feel like he belonged. But me, I'm one of those guys, like, if you're not real, Jaren, I'm not going to talk to you anyway. So I think I don't think I really meant the word imposter for myself.
Well, yeah,
I think I meant if you're looking at me like I don't belong here, I just punched my own ticket. No one gave me this that was already in the draw.
For self-talk.
Do you know what I'm saying? No, nobody gave. No, like I didn't get this from someone who's in the draw that didn't qualify.
Yeah.
I literally punched my own ticket.
Yeah.
So,
for self-talk purposes.
Yeah. No, but go ahead.
Like because I don't know if I ever said to myself, imposter syndrome because I'm not that good yet. I'm like, no, I've never said that.
Yeah, let's go with that a little bit.
Because I was like, well, nobody has ever done what I've done. Like,
no.
You know what I mean? Like I don't think anybody trained the way I train and work with all these coaches, and I don't see anybody there helping us. It was me and Tikal. It was just me and the other coach, like helping the other coach, and they liked me around, so they kept me around.
Good.
So I learned from them, and they like me still today. Like,
yeah,
I have a few dramatic people out there that I don't want to work with, and I let them have it. Like you could take that.
But
like,
you are loved and respected, John.
And I like that. I like that.
I really wish I could say that about myself. But you are loved and respected. There's nobody that doesn't love you, and there's nobody that doesn't respect you.
And some days, like when it's quiet, when nobody sees you, it's rough. You know what I mean? And then I go to the college UCLA game, and the parents call me up, Jan, sit here, sit with us. Yeah. Like, and then, oh, you taught her that one. You know what I mean? And then my heart just like blub blub, like, oh my God, that made my week. Maybe my year.
I promise to keep this podcast glass half full, like positive, because the last podcast I really let everybody have it, because I remember the last episode I was saying that there are a certain group of people that couldn't handle the fact that moms were like, I love you, and little kids liked me, right? This guy came out of nowhere. Who's he think he is? And Jaren went through a lot of the same thing, except you're I don't know, you're already here, so it was different for you.
Yeah.
But because everything you're saying right now, you know what I'm saying? Like, remember Ella, who was like that problem child?
I coached you yesterday.
Yeah. You did? Is she still at USC?
No.
I'm talking about problem Ella, not Ella Drepulse.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Ella, that Ella was, played Furbringer's daughter in the semifinals. They were both 12s playing a 14, and she's like, "You're supposed to be helping me." And I looked at that girl. I was like, "I ain't got to do nothing but stay black and die. Get out of here," you know. But then when I helped her and she won the AAUs, her mom was like, she's never looked at a coach. She's never looked a coach in the eye. You know, she always looks the other way. That was the first time she looked a coach in the eye. So I'm keeping the glass half full. There is something to be said about the kids love you. The parents are still eternally grateful. Like if we called Natalie, Natalie's mom, Catherine.
I just wished her happy birthday.
Yeah. Who's she going to talk about? She's going to talk about you. She's going to talk about me.
Exactly.
You know, yeah.
Because I this is where it comes from. Because my volleyball relationship was not always. Volleyball hated me in the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, I was good when I was too young, so I was sat out because I was too young. And then when I got old, I didn't have a teammate because everybody graduated in high school. But I was still good. And then when I got freshman in college, I was still too young, too good. They sat me out. I thought, I'm done. So went to the military, came back, moved here. Now playing sober, backyard sober. And it just out of nowhere, I'm brought back to volleyball. And it was a resentment for me for a long time. I didn't like volleyball.
You're speaking everybody's language here. Keep going.
You know what I mean? And then I was given a chance to play high level. I took it and ran with it. And it became part of my sobriety pretty much. And then it started from there. So every time I shared a story, like I always start from that part. And then when I get all these trouble kids, I don't go at them like that right away, because I know what's going on. I know what's going on here. So I challenge them on the court instead of what's wrong with you. Like, I don't talk like that.
No.
Like, here's the goal. 10 high lines. Oh, I can't do it. No, here we go. Fix the hands, fix the elbow, fix the compartmentalize, and they forget about. Yeah. So pretty much when they're in the sand with me, everything's right. And that's how it's supposed to be. Like, when I'm in this with me and Fallon right now, she's still grieving from her mom passing away. And when she called me back, I'm like, let's go to sand. And it wasn't like, we're going to train for Huntington. We're going to train. No, it was like,
no, it wasn't any of that.
Let's just touch the ball and start laughing again. Because we have a lot of memories. I've known her since she was 12. She would leave school, go to the pier, and I'd be there already. And then we would wait for her mom to pick her up. This was until she was, I think, 14. So it was like that with her and Alex Jupiter and Sam. Remember Sam? Yeah. I was like the babysitter of the pier, pretty much. So, and we brought back a lot of those, and there was a lot of laughter in the past few weeks that we were training. And now she's getting invited to play Huntington. So I'm like, all right, let's do it. But still, in the spirit of, this is our therapy. This is where everything's right. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make some kids' day just a little bit better by not, like, pushing them to the brink of, like, I hate the sport. My goal is to make them fall in love with it over and over every day. And that's what's happening. And that's why I think most of the appreciation comes from that. Like, all the parents come back and, and I hear it a lot, but it's different when just in the moment when they thank me, like, thank you so much because of you, blah, blah. And not just local parents. I have, like, when I was in USA, I was in the A2 in the 14s, and we did well. We did well against the A1s. And I have parents from Florida, everywhere, and they still talk to me today.
Yeah. These are great relationships. And again, this isn't a self-indulgent podcast episode. This is a grateful and gratification thing. Like, just taking these moments to be grateful that we have this opportunity to do this, right? Yeah. And you bumped onto something very, very important. Like, some people use the sport as an escapism, but some people use it as a discipline, and whatever their reasons is. Anytime that they leave practice and they felt like they didn't have enough time and can't wait to come back tomorrow, You won. We've won. You've won. Not me. Forget me. I'm talking about you now because I could talk about me all day.
We're coaches.
No, but I could talk about me all day. But to all the coaches out there, I'll just say it to you guys. You've won. My camera's right there. If there's not enough minutes in the day for that practice, and they're leaving, and they're like, oh, and they can't wait to see what happens in practice the next day, dude, you've won. You've given them something that could be an escapism, right? I mean, we have South Bay kids, but we have other kids that have other stories, and this might be the one place they feel safe.
Yep.
And you make them feel safe, right? They look in your eyes and you say without words, nothing's gonna hurt you here.
Yep.
Not on my watch.
We have control here.
Not on my watch.
Yeah. We have control of what's going on.
There's something to be said about that. That's a win. Yeah. And guys, I swear this isn't a thing where I'm talking about myself. I'm talking to coaches out there. I'm talking to any coach that's listening. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. When that kid comes and they remember you. They're in high school, they're in college. They remember you because you shaped their path, whether it's a scholarship. Yeah. Or whether they never play the game again, what volleyball has led them to and how it shaped them in other ways, whether it's just being a better volleyball player or whether it's being a better human being. Dude, that's a win. That's a win for coaches everywhere. That's Jaren Barredo.
Because I'm going to leave this gem for everybody. It's not about the trophies and the medals. And yes, sure, that's nice. Like, it's what you've become after that. Yep. Win or lose, what have you become after that? I didn't win a lot. I didn't win a lot. I won a bunch, but I didn't win a lot. It's what I've become after that.
And what have you become after that?
I'm asking you, I would like to believe that I've become a teacher. I mean, without accreditation, of course. But I'm good at kids. Right. You know, and my last girl right now, Reese Sandoval, is going to UC Davis. 5'5".
She's an academic.
5'5".
Okay.
Didn't know how to hit. She was short. Believed she couldn't hit. And luckily, we have Kristen Nuss right now. Like, who's the best player right now in America?
Kristen
One
Nuss.
of the best players. 5'6".
Who's our MVP? If not Kelly Chang, her. Yeah.
5'6".
Yep.
You're only an inch shorter. So you just got to get strong.
And they're going to the Olympics.
You're going to the Olympics. An Olympian is 5'6". So you can't say that you'll never, okay, we're going to train you how to hit. So I'll teach you how to hit high. And I told her to get your legs strong so you can jump a little bit more higher. Then we can start. And then she started hitting. And then she started winning. She wasn't even in the varsity team in Costa at this point.
God bless.
She wasn't even the freshman team or the Froshoff. She wasn't even, no desire to join because she thinks it was too competitive. And then she started winning. Of course she has to join after that. Of course she has to play for her club because she started winning medals. And then she's playing the best players now. So,
yeah.
And
I'll tell you this, but no, finish. This is so awesome. Is she at Davis now?
She's going to Davis.
Okay.
And I told her like this is whatever happens after this is bonus round because you found yourself now. Regardless of family drama and school drama, and this is you now. This is your. But this is just what we do. Volleyball is just what we do.
And whatever you evolve to from there is going to be, it's going to be just as golden. Yeah. I will go on another end. When I first started coaching, like I've been coaching 24 years, but when I first started coaching, I was very good with men because I was a male player and I identify with, them with leadership and this and all that other stuff. But I coached a women's team that did everything I asked them to and they still sucked. And I didn't figure it out until later. The importance of sisterhood, the importance of not vilifying someone in front of a team where they form these cliques. The importance of telling them, oh, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. I can't believe I just wasted a minute and 15 seconds telling them what they're not doing. And they got to get back on the court. And I didn't tell them. I didn't give them one damn thing what they should do or what comes next, right? Yeah. So, and this is why I always say player coach and coach, because they don't get that, right? If you're a generational player, like men, we can undress each other and that'll motivate us to go beat up that team, because you're wound up. And even then, how long do you last the rest of the match?
There's definitely.
On that, right? How long do you last the rest of the match on that? So the point I was trying to make was the level of caring that you put into it and how much you want it for them. that team, I think they finished 1-11. They remember me too.
Yeah.
They don't remember me as a bad coach. They remember me as a coach that they wish they could have played better for. Can you believe that? I sucked that year for them, and all they were thinking is, I wish I could have played harder for that guy. Are you kidding? That's something very romantic about that.
Yeah.
Not in the theatric sense, like the history of the theater sense. Like the virtue, choosing your virtue over your passion. That's what I meant about this romanticism.
And on that note, my first indoor team ever was in Beach City's 13 Silver. I'm friends with all of them right now. Still.
Yeah.
Like
was Dan on the team? Kavanaugh, Dan?
No, this was girls.
Oh, sorry.
I
mean the coach. Yeah.
Oh, at that time it was just me, but I don't know where they were, but they were coaching somewhere else.
Right. Okay.
So this was my first girls team ever, and they were in my wedding. I saw that one of the dads, David, in Hermosa, because the Northrop guys were starting to play the pier, and I'm still friends with a lot of them. Like
nice.
we still message each other, and that was the beauty of it. We were D3. We didn't care. Winning wise, if everybody served in, it was a victory for us. But then here's what happened, right? Then I got him again the next year, 14s, and then they went to high school. All of my girls in El Segundo started, and then that was one of the defining moments. Oh, I did something right. Like I turned those girls into varsity players. Like,
well, you said you were in the military.
In the Philippines.
On the Philippines, yeah.
Redacted. I'm
nice.
kidding.
Oh,
I don't care.
I'm U.S. Army.
Yeah, I don't care. It's.
But I think the reason why I asked that is because the discipline or the approach that I used to learn volleyball, I used my Army training to do that.
There is that. There is
my
some
mentality. The physicality is already there. I'm in the best shape of my life, so I got better at the game when I was in the Army because I was the physical was already taken care of and no excuses and you know what I'm saying. And some of my favorite coaches were Bill Parcells, you know, football coach. So so there was kind of this cold fish mentality of either you do it or you don't. There's no why in your vocabulary, dude. Just the why you're supposed to figure out in practice, and when it's time to play.
Yeah.
Oh, I slipped on a banana peel. Oh, there's none of that. Either you do or you don't. So
I think when it comes to like execution wise, like there's definitely like the military part comes out.
Yep.
But when it comes to like conveying the message, there lies the art of coaching. Like
yes,
how to get from here to here. If they're struggling to do this, I gotta find another way. You know what I mean? Like when I taught somebody how to cut, from the pin to pin, cut. The ball would cross in the middle of the tape, but I'm not saying that. I'm just saying put the ball here. I'm pointing to the ground.
Right.
Put the ball here. Struggling the whole time. All right, put the ball here. Easier. I go back a little bit. Harder still. Can't go in. And then I change the goal. All right, here's the net. I want you to cross the ball at the middle. Don't worry about that target. This is your target.
Boom.
Boom. Boom. Same spot. So that's the art part. Like
it is.
Then you compartmentalize the fix, and then you get to the goal. Still, and I tell her I just tricked you to shoot the proper shot without telling you to.
You just messed around. Yeah.
Without pointing to the target, put it here. No, do this one. Don't worry about that, and then it happens. So that's from like I think from all the sports I've ever played. I played so many sports.
Well, vision and visualization is a real thing, right? If you see it with your eyes enough times, and then someone covers your eyes, you still remember what it looks like. And I preach that up and down in beach volleyball. And it's 10 times more important in indoor because it's a power game and you have this finite enough amount of time before the block's in your face, before the defense is in your face. And yeah, it's
the creativity to make success pretty much.
Right.
Doing the same, like the same goal, but like putting different like mini goals to get there.
Okay.
And stuff like that. That's the art of it. And then dealing with personalities. There's all that stuff. Like instead of saying, how moms yell at the side.
Yeah.
Da, 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 and then I look at the girl. Look at her. Look at me. Like that's all noise. They're sitting there. Their adrenaline's shooting up their head. They're not walking around. They're just trying to burn their adrenaline, stressing out.
Oh, then we need to show this video. You got 10 minutes left, Miranda. We got you on time.
We gotta do this. We gotta do this, guy.
All right.
What's the call,
Let's do it out
ref?
sound. Let's do it out sound.
All right.
What is the call?
Now, Jaren, this is something that's been on Instagram, that's been viral or whatever, and I just really stopped debating people about it because one, they have no real debate skills. I have debate skills, they do not. And two, you bring your point across and he's still doubling down on something that doesn't exist. And I just said, okay, I'm not gonna talk to you about it. I'm not gonna, this includes good players and good coaches too. I'm like, nope, nope. I got X amount of hours in a day. I still gotta look at some video, on Huddle, whatever. So they'll show it again on the replay. Here's the overpass, and he hits it again, and everyone is saying it's legal because they're considering that a block. I'll just give my opinion. I just let my nuts hang. I'll throw it out in the beginning.
Go. You first.
That is an offensive maneuver, not a defensive maneuver. That is a hitting attempt, and the second one is a second contact. That's illegal. Thoughts?
Yes. Block means you're blocking an offense.
Right. Yeah.
That was an overpass.
Right.
And he meant to hit it, and he missed.
Right.
So that's not a block at all.
Thank you.
So I don't know what they're arguing about.
Yeah, and the sad thing is I should have had this live stream on like all of the group sites. Come see us, because the argument was in the rule book. There's nothing that's explicit technically of what a blocker is supposed to look like, and that's their argument. But what they're failing in their argument, by their own rationale, there's nothing explicit about what an attack kill looks like, right? Yeah. Because they're like, you can still block with one hand, and I'm like, you can still attack kill with two. So
if he would have grabbed it and then just the net and missed,
or even redirected it,
but then he pushed it to the net, right. And then that would have been subjective, right? But he swung at it clearly swung at it. Jeez.
So thank you. Good. We just threw that one on. Next. So I want to do lightning rounds, but I wanted to ask you a really, really quick thing about the Olympics. All right. Yes. So April and Alex won in 2000, right? Now, some would say that they weren't necessarily the best team in the world, but they were the top 3 best team in the world playing their best volleyball at the right time. Yes. And I thought they were the best team in the world because they really they had momentum. And if you look at the actual scores, they were so freaking skewed, it was ridiculous. But I do respect the argument. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like at the time, the Canadians were good. At that time, the Aussies were good. At that time, you had two Brazilian teams that were good. So you had 5 teams that could beat each other, and whoever's playing their best volleyball at the right time was going to be considered the best team in the world. Do you see that? My question is twofold. One, do you see that happening this Olympics? Like, especially with the 2 American teams, no one would be surprised to see Kelly and Sarah play Kristen and Taryn.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
It's 2 new teams. And there's no AVP behind to prove who's who. But they finish good, both of them.
Right. Yeah.
Like, it's new. Everything's new. Like, there's a lot of new teams. And then the Australians, I don't know if she can play with her surgery.
Yeah, I don't either.
That might take one team out.
Yeah.
But then the Brazilians have new partnerships, too. So
yeah, it's going to be a lot of disappointed teams. There's only allowed 2, right? Like everyone's like, oh, I wish more Americans can play. I'm like, tell that to the Brazilians who like the last 3 Olympics, right? Yeah. Like, isn't it a shame only 2 Brazilians? Like they got some talent.
They have a lot.
They have 4 teams that can beat like our top teams.
There's a lot of girls. Yeah. Now it goes down to team management.
Right.
Like who's going to show up, with their mental fortitude and physical readiness. Like we're in Paris, so it's not gonna be that hot,
right?
And
wear some leggings.
it's gonna be good for everybody. It's not gonna be humid, so it's gonna be interesting. So it's gonna be 110% for everybody. Nice. And I think, it's rough to call. It's hard to call.
It really is,
because the Brazilian teams are.
It's like who's gonna win, and by the way, the Germans play their best volleyball the Olympic year.
Yeah,
I'll say that again. The Germans like they disappear for 3 years, and they get a spot, and all of a sudden they're playing their best volleyball, and that has everything to do with the coaching staff, from Lugan Wagner all the way down to the last assistant, right? You remember 2016? Remember 2012? That's one gold medal per.
I was there.
One gold medal per gender. Were you in Hio? Or
I was in
London?
Long Beach when.
You in London or
No. When Ludwig picked
Vulcan Horse?
Yeah. And they played.
Yeah.
And they won. And then I was still with Michelle at that time. I was thinking, Michelle, that's the best team in the world.
Yep.
She's like, you're crazy. That's the best team in the world.
And they were.
Watch.
The coaching, and like you said, you could see you were talking.
It wasn't even.
But you were
close.
talking about good systems and playing styles. Like a coach, you can identify it right away. Like these girls are for real because.
And they sat in after their game, after their semis.
Mm-hmm.
There was like lounges on the side of the court.
Yeah.
And then Walking Horse was sitting, and then Laura sat in her lap, and they were just celebrating. I'm like, that's the best team in the world. Like, oh my God.
They do that everywhere. Remember Long Beach? She sat in her lap.
That
She had a big old Vulcan Horse in her lap.
Dude, when I saw them play there, I was like, holy crap.
Yeah, that's a wrap.
Who's going to stop that?
They beat both Brazilian teams to win.
Oh, not even.
In Hio.
It was
No, but in Hio, they had to beat semis and finals.
Yeah, comfortably. Like,
Yeah, 2-0.
Like Laura was on fire. She was the best player of AVP. Instead of voting AVP players that year, they voted Laura Ludwig.
Well, she deserved it.
Because she was just crushing
just like
everyone.
April would have in 2000.
And then the new one, what's her name?
Oh.
The blonde one.
Yeah, we'll
she's
get her
getting
in a minute.
good too.
Yeah.
Oh,
My goodness.
if she shows up on time,
because like I just started this conversation with timing's everything,
Dude.
right? You're playing good volleyball, right? But they're so evenly matched. Who's going to be playing their best volleyball at the right time?
who's gonna show up?
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like with April and Alex, it was like they weren't dominating the whole year, but somewhere somehow they're gonna show up.
Yeah.
And they showed up at the Olympics. And
They really did.
that made USA volleyball look really good.
And Brinken Reckerman did too in London.
Yeah.
The German men's team.
I worked with-
Again, one gold medal per gender.
I worked with their coach when he came here.
Yeah,
And
good
he-
dude, man. He's got like the white mustache, right?
He taught a lot of cognitive stuff,
Yeah.
like left and right.
And you know what?
stuff
Just
like
like
that.
you, he's a ghost. Like
Nobody knows.
try to Wikipedia that dude.
Nobody
You're not gonna
knows.
find it. My coach, Mario Trebich, my mentor,
Yeah.
he has three silvers and a gold. He coached the American women, 84, Soviet men, in the Netherlands, 92 and 96, as an assistant and head coach functionally, and that's 3 silvers and a gold. Google search.
Can't find him.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
They're ghosts. And that's the cool thing about it. I mean,
I'm the incognito South Bay guy that's been around,
I'm the big mouth from Brooklyn who's got
I'm
a really good podcast.
I'm the fly in the wall that just learned everything. I mean, refs would hire me to work with them. I'm not a ref.
I'm just glad to know you. I'm glad to have met you, and I'm glad to have worked with you. Because when I moved here, I had to pay my dues a second time. Right?
Yeah,
So I went
over.
I went from content creator to, wait, this guy can coach, let's give him a chance, to, commentator, to whatever. And now 6 years later, I'm hitting my max, man. I
remember you were like, Jaren, can I use that? Dude, whatever you see here, just take
use it. Yeah,
Just
steal
take
it. Miranda, good artists create, great artists steal. Let's finish with the lightning rounds. Miranda got a hard
Here we
stop,
go.
and she was going to leave us here, but I think we could wrap up here, and we could do this.
Yeah.
We could do this again. By the way, John Moran said if both American teams are in the final, we're going to do a watch party here.
Ooh.
Because he picked Kelly and Sarah, I picked Kristen and Taryn.
Mm.
So I said, I'll tell you what, if they both make the finals,
Hell yeah.
watch party here.
Hell yeah.
Yep. So lightning rounds. We're gonna set the 60 seconds. You got the chroma key. Is that?
Oh, goodness.
It should be cooperating with us.
Yeah, it will be. There it is.
I swear I'm not that smart, but
No, we'll just pass if you don't,
I'm kidding.
You don't want to. We could just pass.
Yeah, I'll just have it playing in the background here. All right.
Go ahead.
First question. Favorite comedian?
Joe Coy.
Dave Chappelle.
That's a good one. Last good book you read?
Book of Five Rings.
Hate Inc. Matt Taibbi. It's right behind you, actually.
Nice.
Last good movie you watched?
Ooh.
Sound of Freedom. I said it last time. I'm still stuck on that. I just really it sends a message.
Ready Player One.
Ready Player One, my
Yes,
man.
sir.
Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Marvel all day.
Pool or the beach?
Duh.
Beach, man.
Beach.
New York, it was beach. New York, now it's pool.
Lord of the
mean,
Rings
that's
or
George.
Harry Potter?
Gandalf.
Oh, man.
You've no powers here, Gandalf the Grey.
I was indoctrinated
Oh, Gandalf the White. I'll go Lord of the Rings.
with Potter. Damn. That's rough.
He's the first person to pick Harry Potter.
I was indoctrinated.
Kyle Friend did.
Yes.
Yeah. Kyle Friend did, but Kyle Friend's a little different.
Bourbon, vodka, or tequila?
Vodka.
Sparkling water.
Oh, I forgot. Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, you are. Be water, my friend.
Be water,
I
my
remember.
friend.
Sorry, I remember.
Be
Stupid
water,
question.
my friend.
What a crazy. That's better.
Favorite sport outside of volleyball?
Mixed martial arts.
Table tennis.
Nice.
It's my first sport.
We got one downstairs. You should play my wife. She's a savage. Yeah. Go ahead.
Favorite action film star growing up?
I go Bruce Willis.
Jackie Chan.
Nice.
All day.
Does his own stunts. But I mean,
All day.
come on, right? 100% of his own stunts. Go ahead.
All day.
Any favorite conspiracy rabbit holes?
For me, just the JFK assassination.
Aliens are real, bro.
That's it. That's it,
yeah.
And I
Jaren.
have one I added.
Yes, please go ahead.
Go.
I want to know either your favorite beach volleyball game you've played in or just the favorite beach volleyball game you've watched. Like, what's the most memorable that sticks out the most?
2009 six-man finals.
2018, K-Spear and Pretty versus Alvaro and Simon. Just the most savage match I've ever seen in my life. Went to 3.
Nice.
And I'm just a prisoner of the moment. It's probably something else, but that was the first thing that came in my mind.
That was the last big
yeah.
six-man ever.
Yeah.
So
And that was Huntington, the FIVB thing. That was Huntington Beach. And then the Sunset game with the Taylors against Budinger and Evans.
yep.
That was awesome.
That was.
And then Cuba against Russia in Rio.
Yeah.
That went 16-14 game 3, and all they could do was lay on their back when it was over. All right, so Jaren, little IG handle before we get out of here. Just
Sammy_, cutest dog ever.
cutest dog ever. That's right. Listen, this guy might love you, but I don't love any of you. In fact, I'm out of here. In fact, we're all out of here. So for all of you at home, for all of you on your iPads and droids and desktop, who runs the world? Old school, baby.
Old
You
school,
can't
baby.
guess this dude's age. For my man Jaren Barredo, for my homie Miranda Gagne, I'm Jason DeBiss. This is episode 2004, and we're out. Come check out the Option Podcast on OptionVB.com. It's also available on iTunes and Spotify and on YouTube under the NY Varsity Sports handle. You're going to love what you hear.